I'm going to start up an introduction, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a clamshell box, but I've got two sets of boxes here, and one's a clamshell and one's a drop hinge, and it's just to show you the difference between the two if people really don't know. I mean, I didn't know when I first started, but I think clamshell box is an American. I think it's American. It's not British, not English, and the drop hinge box is also an American word. And I didn't even know what a drop hinge box was before I started looking at YouTube. Anyway, it's just a brief intro to introduce the clamshell box and show you a bit of differences. Now these are very old. This was the first one I ever made, I think, and yeah, it's one of my very old ones, very first ones, very early and very simply made, and it's got 2 3/4 boxes with a hinge in the middle which slides up and goes onto the book like so, and then goes over the top, and that's one. These don't last long, so these will be going shortly, and these are a little bit better made. These are also drop hinge box, clamshell box. This is a clamshell box, 2 separate boxes with a book placed inside, and with a centre portion. You don't need a centre portion, but the centre portion helps keep out the dust and the light much better than if it wasn't there. And you can see how it works. It comes up the side and makes the 4th side. So I'm doing this quickly because it's only introduction into clamshell boxes. This is another clamshell box, and same sort of thing. You can see it's got 2 boxes, 2 3/4 boxes, or hollow squares as I call them. And the final one that I did is the one that I actually did in the video that you're going to watch if you do watch it. You could be crazy by the time you finish. But this is the book finished, and this is the book I've made for Rose. I've added a couple of ribbons, that's all that's different. It's exactly the same as the other ones. And I was going to put some material inside, but I found out I haven't got any decent material, not good enough to put inside for a book. And I'm just hoping she'll like that. It's just a diary, and it's made in exactly the same way, except it's got a couple of ribbons on. Just move them out of the way. And the difference between that, they were clamshell boxes, and these are drop hinge boxes, and they've got a one-sided hinge on them, that's all. Just a one hinge, and the book is in the centre. The actual book is in the middle. So that's one. I've done quite a few of these actually. That's the other one. It's just one side, drop hinge. And these are my early ones, which I haven't given away because I like the books. It's one of the first ones I made, this one. So there you are, that's the difference. They're drop hinge boxes, and the other ones you saw were clamshell boxes. And the one that you're going to look at today that I made is this one, which I made for Rose, and how you make that I will show you in the following sequences. Okay, well I'm going to start off a little bit early into this, and I'm going to assume that people know how to cut pieces of card and bits and pieces, but what I've got is I've got a big piece of card here, but I mean if you've got the ordinary foolscap size of card that you normally buy, there's not much you can do about it, but I'll put this in. I don't really go much on it because you go with what you've got anyway, and if you've only got a piece of card twice as big as that, it's not much point in doing this, but anyway you've got to cut it to the size that it'll fit. But the whole big stock in this, but if you get hold of a piece of card, you'll find that there's a grain in it and more of the grain goes one way than the other, and so when it's being manufactured the grain will tend to go in one direction, and that will be the weakest direction. And if you flex the board, and this, you can feel this is pretty soft this way, but if I get a hold of it and do it this way, it's fairly stiff, which means that the stiff way is the way that the lines are going, and the other way is the lines are going up and down this way. So if you mark your paper like so, or your card, it works with paper just the same. When you come to making the board like this, you'll find that the lines are upside down. I won't go into that too much because everybody does that, which way the paper's up and things like that. I don't find it much point to it because you're working with what you've got, and normally people are working off a board like this, and normally they've got a piece of card either this big or a piece of paper this big, so it doesn't matter which way it goes. You haven't got any choice because you've got to cut it the way that it'll fit. Obviously, if you're going to make an A5 book, you know it's going to go that way, so whatever it is, doesn't matter which way the paper's running, only if you can help it. If you can help it, and in this case I can, so I've done it. And it does strengthen things up considerably. And you'll see that there, the lines are running vertically, and the lines on these pieces I've cut here are running vertically, and also the side pieces. So I won't dwell on that too much anyway. And I'm using 2mm card, or 2000 microns, whichever you prefer. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to fit this book, which is for my friend, his girlfriend, and we've done something special. We've got all pink pages, so the girls will like. I think the girls like pink pages, but it's gone in rather well, and it's rather solid, and it's stitched at the back, and it's stitched in the back, and it's got extra crossover stitches in the middle for strength, and it's got a leather bound back on it with the paper ends, and it's a yearly one. It runs 365 days each year. Each day is marked, and she loves roses, so we put a rose in to isolate for each month for her, and a little photograph of her. And she's ever such a nice lady, so we're going to do something nice for her. And what I've done is I've cut the offcuts. I've got little offcuts of cards, which most people will have, and all you do is you take the book and you place it on your card like so, and you measure around it just for the sake of interest, 2mm. So if you get a piece of card like this, an offcut or something, and you put that on like that, that's 2mm, 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 and then you mark it around, and then you get your little knife with your ruler and you cut it to size. And then what you do is you do an end, which is the height of the book, just slightly over, and in this case it's just about, yeah, it's just slightly over, so you can see I've gone just slightly over there. And make sure you don't cut to the size of the book. We need to cut to the size of the board. If you cut to the size of the book, you'll be short, so you can forget about the book now. All you wanted was the height. So once you've got the height, you cut the piece off. So what I would have done was measure it up like that, put the book on, measure up like that, put a line across, and then cut to the line. Just cut to the line, and we'll get a piece of wood, like piece of card like this. I'm going through this fast because I've done this in just about every video I've done. And once you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to produce a three-sided box. A hollow square, I call it in the army. My friend laughs at that. Anyway, so that will fit on the back, and when it's glued on, it will perform the thing. And then we do this one. You can use this as a template, put that on, and then cut that to size. And just measure it the whole length if you want, or just measure it 2mm short, because that's the distance between that and that. And when you put it on, you'll find that it just fits, and there it does. And the other piece will be exactly the same if your ends are the same. And all we're going to do now is just glue those pieces on, like so. Oh yeah, that one I haven't cut yet. I haven't cut that piece yet, so you can tell if you've left it without cutting it, you'll find that you've got a big lump at this end, and you've got a lot of messing about to do to get it right. So I'm going to cut that to the length of this one. Yeah, I'll cut that to the same length as that, and then I'll shut. Once we've done this, we're going to do another box to fit inside it. But it's as simple as that. That's the start of it. You don't need many tools. Ruler, pencil, something to cut with. I suggest you use one of these because all the weight and pressure goes on the tip of the point because of that curve. I have got one that's straight and it doesn't work the same way. Anyway, I'll stop there and we'll go into the second part directly. Okay, well what I'm going to do now, I've put a little board on and stuck it on. You could use anything with a straight edge, you could use a book or anything, as long as you've got something to butt up to. And don't forget that it will stick to it, this thing, so you can put a piece of greaseproof paper over the end if you want to. And if you've got a piece of wood, it doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do now is to glue up one. I'm going to glue up the sides to make my box, and show you quickly how to do that if I can. Now what I'm going to do is just lightly place a piece of glue at the end of this. You can do it with a roller, you can put it on with your finger, you can do all sorts of things. There's as many ways of doing everything that I'm showing you as there are people doing it. And wipe off the excess at the sides, not the bottom. And then put your piece on. Make sure it's level at each end with the board, and then just press it into position, making sure it doesn't jump out of course. If you've already put paper on this, it will bow up, and there's certain things you've got to do, but we aren't putting paper on at the moment, so there's no bowing in the board. So, a little tap at the end, and that will release it from the glue. And there you'll see you've got the end already in, stuck. It's not firm, but it's not far off. Then what we do is stick the side. The only thing different with this is we stick the end so that it will glue onto, I'll do it on the inside, so it will glue onto this end. The light's not too good in here. I don't know what it's like on the camera, but it's not awfully good for me. Mind you, I'm getting blinded a bit. Make sure that it goes right up to the end of that board. Press it in, hold it for a few seconds, just while it sticks. A little tap, and there we are. One corner in, and the last one. Sorry, I must be going out of shot there. The camera's behind me, it's usually at the side, I can see what's happening, but when it's behind you, you forget that it's there. Or you forget to look and see whether you're in shot or not. Okay, let's put this in. Push up to the back there, press it in. And if your cuttings have been okay, you'll find that the ends are lined up, etc, etc. Just a little bit out, check that you are in. You've got a few seconds to put things in order. And there we are. There's your box made. And that will take a little bit of weight, not too much, but you can place your book on it while it's drying, I suppose. You want it to hold it in position. And that's box one done. It's as quick as that. Okay, back again then, and I've got this rather large piece of card which I think is about 3 foot by about 2.5 feet, and it's 2mm board, that's all. And here's a piece that I cut off earlier for a side, and I put the book inside the box that I've made, which I'll show you in a minute, and you can see it fits pretty well. It's pretty good. A couple of mistakes, but it's reasonably good. And all I've done is press the box and the book together, because the book makes a good template, and also it keeps the box at width. And what I've done, I've placed it on the card, and I've put a piece of 2mm offcut card on, and I placed it on like that, and drawn around it with a pencil, like so, and then 2mm, generous 2mm, just generous, and then the same on the other side, and then I've removed it, and that now will become the base of the box, and I'll cut the other little bits off in a minute. So as you can see, that's the next bit that we do. So what I'll do, I'll stop there because I'm just holding this, and I'll cut that out, and I'll cut the little pieces out as well, which are just extensions of this, which are the height of this box now, and a little bit more to take in the height of the book, just a little bit more, just slightly. This is just a little, it's just on par. This, I should have built it a bit higher, but never mind, it'll still work. So I'll stop there, cut that out, and then carry on. Okay, well what I've done is I've cut the pieces of card, and I've just tacked them to the side of the box. I haven't tacked them, I just made them stand up, and they're just loosely connected. And what they are is, at the front it's absolutely flush, and at the back there's 2mm, so that the board will fit on exactly. 2mm at the side and 2mm at this side. So there's 2mm all the way around, which is the width of a piece of your card, an offcut, and then be a little bit generous because you're going to put paper on this, don't forget. So you can see on mine there's just a little bit extra there. I don't know if you can see it, if I've got it in focus there or not, but there's just a little bit over, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit bigger. The books are quite forgiving, and if I take the top box off, you can see what I've done. There we are. So that's the top of the box. There we've got the base of the box, and we're going to glue that one up exactly the same as we did this one. So I'll take the book out because that might be confusing some people. It's difficult to do with one hand. There we are. So that's what we've got so far. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, except this box is a little bit bigger than that box. That's all. So when we measured it up, we measured it so as it would be 4mm bigger along the base and 4mm bigger along the sides. So that's it, and a little bit. So as we're quite generous. So that's the next bit. I'll stop there because this is the bit that takes up all the time, the cutting and the chopping. And I'm sure most people know how to do it, how to make a box now. There's plenty of things on, there's plenty of my videos where I show you how to put the pieces on. But as long as you remember, place the box on to your piece of card that you're going to cut. Allow 2mm all the way around, apart from the front edge, which should be flush, and then cut it out, and then cut yourself 3 little pieces, one the exact length of the box, exact length, and then one which is 2mm shorter, and the other one which is 2mm shorter. So you've only got three side bits in the bottom and the base. And that will make your other box, and we'll glue that up, or I'll glue that up now because you've seen me do the first one, so I won't keep showing you how to glue up and everything, but you know what I'm going to do from the first part of the video, and we'll carry on to the next position. Well, I've glued the sides in now, and what all I've done is put the inner box into the outer box, and the outer box is the one I've just completed. And I'll remove the book because that keeps everything together and presses things down. I use the book as a sort of a template all the time. And you can see I've put, I'm trying to work with 2 hands. 1 hand I mean. Okay, so what we have is the 2 boxes, and one box just slides over and fits into the other box like so. Near enough. And if it's not, if there are a few rough edges, you can get your, I've got a little sanding tool here, and you get your little sanding tool and clean the edges off and rub things down, square things away, and so that's box 1 and box 2 finished. So now what we've got to do is to cover the thing, and how you cover it we'll go on to in the next part.